Welcome, everybody. My name is Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to Sports Med with the Robs. Today is a special episode. As you can see, we have a guest with us. We're keeping it a little bit lighthearted. We're actually going off of the coronavirus and stuff like that, because quite frankly, like, we kind of want to have some longevity with these podcasts. So when you listen back, you're not like, oh, this one's about the coronavirus. Skip that. It's 2022. Like we're unless we somehow go into like a post coronavirus apocalyptica, whatever. Today we're gonna be talking about work-life balance as an athletic trainer. We all three of us are different athletic trainers of different levels, and have different backgrounds. I'm gonna let our guest introduce himself and kind of give him a little bit of background, and we'll go from there. So you have the floor.
All right. My name is Anthony Vidali. I'm the head athletic trainer at Independence Community College in Independence, Kansas. I got my bachelor's in athletic training from the University of Kansas, and I got my master's in healthcare administration from Oklahoma State University just last year. And yeah, I'm currently married right now. I got 2 kids, got 3 dogs at home, so life is good.
Good to hear. How you hanging in with everything going on?
Hanging in there.
Wife tried to kill you yet because being home so much?
I know. Well, it's weird because I've been home all the time now, and usually, she's kind of home, so I've been kind of playing like the stay-at-home dad role. So she, I don't do things the way she usually does it, but right. I think we're doing well. Yeah. So my background is I am hardly single. Well, no. That's wrong wording. A single AT, don't have a kid. I am, I spend my weekends when I'm not working, going out and having a good time with a bunch of friends and stuff like that. And Rob, you want to go ahead and tell everybody your fun old living situation?
Yeah, so I am living with my girlfriend now. We have been together just under 2 years now. And we are actually expecting our first child in September. So come September, we'll be welcoming a lovely baby girl. Also, fun fact, I did not intend to wear a pink polo this week and talk about my daughter. Just kind of happened, but...
So,
congratulations.
So we have...
Thanks, man.
A father of 2, a guy in a committed relationship with a bun in the oven, and we have a painfully single athletic trainer. Like I think we kind of cover all the bases here, right? Like, so that brings me to my first question, and we'll start with Anthony. What are your hobbies outside of athletic training? Like when you get home from work or you're on your day off, what are you doing?
Oh, well, just as good as I do, video games. I love video games. So outside of spending time with my family, of course. My biggest hobby, I would say, is video games. And like I said earlier, my son is he's about 5 years old here in about 3 weeks, actually. And it's awesome because my hobbies line up with his hobbies. So he loves video games, so we just get to play video games together. So, it's kind of like a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, until he starts beating you, and then you're like, oh, crap.
A lot better at racing games. It's amazing. It's amazing what a 5-year-old can do.
All right, Rob, what's your hobbies? What's your fun stuff to go to?
So I'm gonna be the oddball out on this one. I'm not greatly into video games. I can play a couple here and there, but I'm not one to sit down.
I dabble in Angry Birds, and I play a little bit of the Tetris, and
I'm more Rob, as you know. I'm more into martial arts of any kind. So there's one app that we have on our TV here that one channel alone is just streaming all types of martial arts shows, kickboxing bouts, boxing bouts, MMA bouts, that kind of stuff. And if I'm not watching that, reading up on some type of martial art, I'm probably down in my basement training on what I have trained in before and some other stuff that, like I said, I've been reading up on, and I can do my best to mimic what they're explaining.
So how are things going with everything gyms being shut down and stuff like that? How you keep it up on your training and whatnot?
Oh, well, I got a set up in the basement, so gyms could have closed. Gyms could be closed all year. I'm just like, that's cool. I'm still gonna get my work in.
I feel like out of this entire podcast, we have the two athletic trainers in America that play video games, right? Like, because you typically see a lot of your ATs are more in line with Rob, the other Rob, not me. Usually some sort of physical activity, stuff like that. Now, my first and foremost hobby is video games, right? Like I stream every weekday now during quarantine. I play basically video games all day. I go downstairs and end up playing Super Smash Brothers with my roommates. Like it's but like when we're not in this whole thing, like I kind of also like to get outside, right? Like I like grilling, I like cooking. Never trust a skinny chef. So like I thoroughly enjoy cooking, and quite frankly, like a lot of this time off for me has been great because what have I been able to do? I've been able to cook a lot because I haven't had to worry about like, I got to get home, I got to make dinner in 30 minutes, and then I got to actually get a shower, go to bed and stuff like that because I got to be up at 7 a.m. the next morning to be at work by 8 a.m. to repeat and do another 11-hour day. Now it's wake up, play a little video game, start dinner, cook some dinner, watch a movie, call it a day. Like I'm kind of enjoying myself. I am missing not going out to bars, but that's a whole nother podcast we're not about. But for, I don't know why I closed my questions. I need to turn my phone back on. All right. So what, for Rob, we're going to start with Rob for this one. What's your best advice during normal times, right? We're going to move past this. We're back in regular swing of things. Sports are back. We're back in full swing, back to our 60-hour work week, 40, 60-hour work weeks, crazy life. What's your best advice for maintaining a good work-life balance? How do you manage it?
I mean, I just I go back to like just my hobbies. Is I try to, when I'm at work, I give it everything, but then since I have, martial arts, and you can do that pretty much anywhere, it's really easy for me to just kind of on the mornings that I'm not going into a clinic, or the Saturdays that I don't have any obligations to be at, Sundays, that kind of thing, is I just take some time. I be in that kind of environment. I just allow myself to be involved in something else other than athletic training. I love my kids, love the school and everything, but if I can have some time to me and kind of separate myself from the world and just have me and that's it, then that to me is the best way to go about it.
Okay. And then for Anthony, how do you manage being a full-time athletic trainer, a head athletic trainer at that, a full-time dad, and managing keeping yourself relatively sane? Now I get it, the whole family aspect you're sane during, but like you also need some alone time too, right? Like how do you kind of work that out?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think a lot of athletic trainers can see it too. Even in our profession, communication is huge. I communicate with my wife, nonstop. Sometimes it's even hard to get a text off in the athletic training room, as you guys know. But I try and communicate with her on those long days because, maybe you're supposed to be out by 4. Next thing you know, it's 9:30. Or, like I don't even know where the time went. So, but it's important to communicate with your significant other. I talk to my wife all the time. She's my biggest fan. That's why I married her. So she supports everything I do, and I support everything she does. I think that's really important. Like I said earlier too, like my hobbies are video games, and my wife likes to play video games here and there. My son loves it. My daughter, I will most certainly raise on video games. So it's good quality time that the whole family can spend together, and we all get our fun time.
And I definitely think communication is probably one of the things, because I don't know about you guys, but AT in general, like, yes, you're surrounded by people all day, but you still kind of feel like you're on an island because, quite frankly, a lot of times you're the only medical person there, right? Like and when you're talking to either a coach, you're talking to them about the athletes, you're talking to an athlete, you're talking to them about their health and stuff like that. So like it's conversation, but it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not, it's job
Not very
related.
engaging.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's your job, right? You kind of have to talk about it, right? Now, and that's not saying you can't develop a relationship with your coach, go out for a beer afterwards, after a football game, stuff like that. Be part of the full coaching staff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely feel, especially for a lot of the lower level, not low. I use lower level as in like high school and below, not diminishing their roles. I'm a middle school AT, so like I'm definitely low man on the totem pole there, but I'm training them for you guys so they actually know what we are, right? Like that's the baseline, right? But there's some days I feel like I go to work, I see my patients, and then I see my athletes, and then I go home, and then I don't talk to my, like, I'm so tired I go to bed, and the next day I just wake up, I'm already drained because like I didn't have any like unwind time, right? Like you gotta, I know sleep's important, but there also has to be a fine line between getting enough sleep and actually taking time for yourself, right? Like self-care is probably got to be your number one priority. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy during this whole thing.
Absolutely. I mean, even, I think at my job too, communication further here is, talk with your assistants, talk with your head, talk with an AD if that's your position. Explain to them, don't approach them, oh, I'm tired of working. But, it does drain you no matter how much you love the job. It's just the long hours that get to you, and it's important to communicate that and try and find time off, even if it's just a couple hours or a day where somebody can fill in. Hey, you work for me these next couple of days, or tomorrow I'll take, I'll do an extra day next week. But you got to focus on yourself. It's super important.
Yeah, I think even in the case of myself being at a high school, and probably you too, Rob, even at the middle school, is having a good relationship with your athletic directors, and in most instances, for the high school and middle school type athletic trainers, your supervisor that's over you, having a good relationship with them to be like, hey, we're crushing it on hours this week. I'm going to be over what you guys want me to be. What can we do about it next week? And most of the time they're like, hey, either don't go into this location if you're supposed to be, or, once everything winds down, just let coaches know, like, hey, I'm rolling as soon as you guys say practice is done. And that way they have a heads up. And once practices are done, get out of there. Because I know that's been kind of my experience this past year. New school, new AD, new supervisor kind of thing. But we got into a good groove and everything right in the beginning. And especially like over the holidays, there were times where I was like, hey, I crushed it in hours here. Can I take a couple hours to, leave a few minutes early from these practices that are over the holidays so, I can have time with my family during this time that everybody wants to? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. We were here way longer than we should have been then. So just take your time. We'll see you after the new year, and we'll get rolling again there.
Yeah, I mean, so Rob and I do work for the same company, and I think the one thing, now you can have whatever opinions you want on PT clinics and AT setting, like contracting ATs or whatever, but I think a good benefit for a good positive for working for like a outside clinic contracting ATs is that they pretty much hold us to our 40 hours a week, right? Like, I mean, yes, there's going to be weeks where we go over, but like they're like, yeah, no, you can compensate by, you're going to see these weeks you're going to be working less kind of thing. So it's not drive yourself crazy, especially with me having a lot of clinical hours. So my clinic is I'm 25-15 split. So 15 hours at my school, 25 at my clinic. Some weeks it's even more at the clinic, just because of how my whole situation's set up. But my clinic director is very, very lenient on my hours, right? Like if it's like, hey, I had to work extra here, like I got to cut out early on Friday or on Thursday or whatever works best for you. He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Also, I think another point is like, don't be afraid to have like a personal relationship with the administration, with the staff, with like people at your school, right? Like become part of the school. You don't see other teachers, just going home and doing nothing, right? They go out for happy hour. I live with 2 teachers, right? And like it feels like every other day. Anthony, your camera just turned off.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. It feels like not every other day, but at least once a week they're going out and doing something with each other, right? They're going to a happy hour. They're going to and it's mostly happy hour. Teachers go to the bars a lot. I mean, they deal with the kids more than we do, so like I don't blame them. But I think developing a relationship with your AD, and you know, I can't really speak for the college level, so I don't know, but I know Anthony, do you oversee one team or do you oversee multiple teams?
I oversee all of them.
Oh, so you're the guy. You're the guy. Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
We're, as an athletic trainer, we are in season in college, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Well, at the community college level, typically,
Right.
What I do, you oversee all the sports.
Okay.
I know some schools do it differently, where you know if you have 2 ATs, you say you split the fall sports or the spring sports,
Right.
and whatnot. So.
Okay. I mean, so good God, never. I don't envy you at all on that one. That sounds like a lot of work.
We get summer off. We get summers off.
Okay.
We get about 3 months, 2.5, 3 months off.
Okay.
For the summer. So there's that. It's kind of that compensation. Your long fall.
Mhm.
We don't really taper off in the spring because basketball's ramping up. Whatever. I'd say yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
the summer is our time. It's our downtime. I always try and make it to NATA. That's a great.
great
for me. I take my wife. She loves going to those locations, so I take my wife. Next year it's in Orlando, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm so mad I understand why they had to cancel it, but I'm so mad they canceled it. I was looking forward to Atlanta.
Like, but if they would have canceled like Orlando, I would have been way more upset.
Hey, at least they didn't cancel Vegas, okay?
Yeah. I know. I'm glad.
I had a blast in Vegas.
Yeah, my wife came with me for that one too, so it was awesome.
I mean, and like I have a bunch of colleagues, bunch of friends are like, "Oh, I'm not going this year." It's just so I'm like, guys, this is the one time where our works will probably give us off, right? Like go learn a couple things, but then take your evenings and have a great time, right? Like the conference is there. The conference is great. But like if you miss a day at the conference, it's not the end of the world, right? Like if you want to enjoy where you're going. Like and they've never been in like, yeah, we're going to go to Timbuktu, Idaho, and enjoy. Like they always pick fun spots. Like Baltimore was a blast. Vegas was insanely fun.
Was awesome.
New Orleans was.
Yes.
Oh boy, there's some stories for another podcast from New Orleans that I don't need to go.
Back to New Orleans and Vegas. That was 2 years.
Orlando's gonna be fun, and plus you get 24 CEUs.
Yeah, 24, 25.
24, but you have the option to get more, I believe. Something around there.
Orlando.
I'm looking forward to Orlando. Like I'm gonna go every year. Like if
I'm gonna go anyway.
Right. Like even if I decided to, for whatever reason, I'm not. But like if I ever decided to leave AT, I would still end up going to NATA just because like it's a good learning experience. It's the easiest way to keep my credentials because like I get basically all my CEUs by just going.
Right.
Like and it's a week vacation, learning vacation. It's fun. It's a good time. And you get to connect with colleagues, right? Like that's
one of my favorite parts.
The UD alumni night might be my favorite night of the entire.
I mean, if you can find no other reason to go to NATA, go for the networking. Like, go talk to people. It is amazing.
So
learn how many doors open. It is unbelievable.
And you have ATs from every level. You have professional. Yeah. You have high school, college, you name it.
I mean, literally everything.
Industrial.
And especially if you can meet like at the expo, you go around, you can talk to like the different vendors.
Yeah.
Find the vendor that's in your area, build up a rapport with them, definitely. And then something comes along.
Discounts, get those discounts.
Hey man, can you give me a hookup? And next thing you got a brand new thing in your AT room, and everyone loves you.
Brings me that like networking brings me to a fun story from Vegas with Rob and I taking.
Oh boy, here we go.
So
I was not prepped.
It was like day. What was it? Day 3. We took the Uber, Wessels.
Whatever. Well, we took an Uber a couple of times.
I mean the Uber.
Oh, that was the day before we left. So whatever that was,
Okay.
that was 3 or 4. If
So-
we came in on Monday, it'd be 4. Either way,
So
3 or
Rob's
4,
like,
doesn't
Rob's
matter.
like, UFC headquarters are in Vegas. I want to work for them, right? Like he's like, I've done the online stuff. He's like, I'm just gonna take my application there. So he goes to the printing place, prints out his full resume, like cover letter, like everything, and we get an Uber. Now this is like a $30 Uber to go because this is not on the strip. This thing is out there, right? This is like out there in the middle of the freaking desert, right? We get the coolest Uber driver. We go to the first building that says UFC on it. We go there. There's not a car in sight. Not a single person at the building. We're like, are we at the right place? And then he goes back on his phone. He's like, let's try this. So the Uber driver's like, yeah, I got you. Just drives us to the next. It's like the next building over. We pull in. A big security, big guy gets out of the building. Like this guy probably should have been fighting in the UFC, not being like this doorman. Like it, I wouldn't have messed with him. Anyway, he gets out. Rob gets out of the car with his resume. I'm sitting in the AC because I'm not getting out of this car in the 103-degree heat. You're crazy if you think I'm doing that. And they're just having a conversation. They're just having a good old chit chat. Rob gets back in the car and it's like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to be here. Like he's like, I don't know how you got on the premises. They left the gate wide open. We just drove in. Like it just wasn't. But like stuff like that happens. I think something like that happens almost every time during an ATA. Like you meet somebody or you have some stupid fun story, and just kind of a good way to unwind and talk to other ATs about your AT stuff, right? Like because a lot of times your friends, unless you're like exclusively friend group with AT. A lot of your friend groups aren't AT, so like when you talk to them about skiffies, or you talk to them about like Osh Trigonum or something like that, they have no idea what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned Severs to somebody, and they're like, "Huh? The f you talking about?" Right? Like,
Yeah. Follow up on that story. I never did hear back from them, so
I'm so pissed about
wasn't
that.
yeah. So Dana, if you're watching this, I'm gonna be watching on Saturday. Give
Is
me
this
a
the
call.
Fight Island weekend?
No, that's not next weekend because that's 4th of July. They're
That's
taking the
such
week
a
off.
stupid
It's
idea.
the following
They're like,
weekend.
let's put all these guys. Okay, never mind. It's okay.
It sounds like a great idea.
I think it's
Already.
fantastic.
It sounds like a great idea.
It sounds like an idea. Great is neither here nor there. It sounds like an idea, right? Like, so Anthony, how much time, going back to kind of on topic, how much time outside of work do you think about a week do you spend doing things for work? So like you're done for the day, you come home, right? But maybe you didn't do all the paperwork. Maybe you need to do a little research on an injury, stuff like that. How much time during the week do you think you spend outside of work on things in work?
A lot. Well, there's two different theories too, because I keep going back to it. Communication. I'm huge on it. Like if I text somebody, I can't stand if I don't get a text back. So like I know there are plenty of people that if you send a text to somebody, they're after 9 o'clock I'm not opening it or whatever. I respect that. That's setting work-life boundaries too. A lot of ATs do that. I'm that person that if I get it, I don't know what it is, I gotta respond. That's just the way it is. I don't.
Well, you're also in that position where you kind of you are the medical, and something goes down, right?
Right, and I want to be able there to offer the advice and whatnot. But yeah, and in addition to, we are in a helping profession, obviously. So, if I don't like to be wrong, obviously, I don't think many people do. So if you question something during the day, I don't like to leave it at that. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna research it immediately, or I'm gonna look it up right then and there. I'm going to find out what the answer is. So, I would say I spend probably an hour a day, maybe.
That's not bad.
Where, give or take, doing stuff from communicating, looking up articles, emails, stuff like
Closing
that.
up loose ends.
Yeah, which really isn't, again, that big of a deal.
Right.
So,
I mean, you're right, because if you do
at least
things
on my end, it's not.
right.
Again, you have those people that don't mind, doing it different times of the day, you also have those people that 8 to 4 is my window, and that's it. It depends what you can do.
What about you, Rob?
I'm kind of in the same vein as Anthony. Is I try to take, however many days of the week I'm in, I try to take an hour at the most once I get off of work, to kind of take care of any loose ends, anything like that. I don't really have a hard cutoff time as to I'm not answering any emails or phone calls or anything like that. But I do, if it's something, I'll it kind of I vary it that aspect on a couple of things, because if it's something where I know I've sent the kid to this doc because they run like their own urgent care or something like that, and I need them to get an x-ray to rule something out, and that doc has a rapport with me and gives me a call, that at that portion, I've had docs call me at 9:30 at night and I've answered it because I knew I sent that kid, and I'm like, I gotta know,
You want to know
so that I can finish
Right. Yeah,
this
that's for
note.
your own sanity.
Like, I gotta know, so that one, for my own sanity, and two, so that I can finish this injury report so I can get it in, and then we can get the ball rolling whichever way we can.
Yeah, paperwork.
And then there are the other things
Nope.
where it's something small, and I've contacted the parent, and then the parent like calls me just to be like, hey, yeah, we went to get this looked at more, even though you said not to, and here's what it is,
And it wasn't
you were right,
anything.
it's
Yeah.
just this. And I'm like, so then those are the ones where I'm like, you know what, you can go to voicemail. I know your kid's not going to die. I'll talk to you in the morning.
Right. And I tell my parents, coaches, and basically even my bosses, I'm like, 8 a.m., 8 p.m. my phone is open, right? Like, I text messages, calls, I check my email from 8 to 8, right? Outside those hours, good luck, right? Like, if I'm feeling generous, I might, right? Now, if it's like I send an athlete to the ER, I'm going to probably call the parent around 9 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, just because depending on the injury, like, it might be an issue, right? And I always tell mom and dad, give me a call, please, so I have peace of mind too. So like, and I'm like, that's when you can kind of break my hours. My bosses know, like, if it's an emergency, call me. If it's not, send me a text or an email. I'll check it at 8 a.m. the next day. And then I'll check my email, I'll check my texts and triage the situation, kind of thing. So like, if somebody's like, I need you now, kind of thing, I'm like, oh, all right, I'm not
I'm not super busy.
right. Like if I'm just sitting around kind of just playing video games or something like that, I'm just kind of like, what's up? Like, but I think setting the boundaries to your administration, to your bosses, is another key factor, right?
Right.
Let them know that, like, hey, I know that, like, this is why I'm here for, and I'm here for it, but I also need my own sanity. Just like you can go home and shut it off if you want. Like, I need to be able to go home and shut it off too. Just because go. Anyway, is not conducive to a healthy mentality, mind state. I was first couple years of work, like, now granted, right out of college, I worked for a pain management clinic, and it was only 40 hours a week. But the amount of stuff I had to look up and do afterwards, I was just going crazy. Like, it was just, and then even in college when I was working and being an AT student, so I was doing, don't tell BOC, but like 30 hours of clinical a week, 30 hours of class, X amount of classes, studying, labs, and then I went home to work for a gas station every weekend. Like, it's not like, working that much is not conducive. Like, now there's some people out there who do it, and all power to them, right? Like, if you can manage that, good for you. But like, at some point, you gotta unwind.
It's tough. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people in those positions where it is tough to unwind too. You just got to find that time. Like, when I was up in Delaware, I ended up working 2 jobs while I also had my son up there. So
Right.
You work like 7 a.m. to probably 6 p.m. If you go to clinic in the morning, high school in the afternoon, and then go straight to another job there till midnight. turn that right around. So the last thing you want to do is spend an hour at night doing more stuff. But yeah.
And especially with the paperwork and stuff too. And the necessity for paperwork is obviously there. Like, we need to make sure that we're documenting everything we do. But sometimes at like 9 o'clock at night, you're just like, I don't feel like documenting this, but you kind of have to, because if you don't, you're going to misdocument something, and that's the whole bag of worms you're opening up there. Or you get in that mindset of, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, I'll do it later this afternoon. Okay, I'll do it this evening. Okay, I'll do it Friday. Okay, I'll do it next week. And then all of a sudden you're like, which arm did he hurt?
Yeah, and you have a lot to do.
Right. And you still have your normal day-to-day stuff. So all that stuff just adds up.
Yeah. That's honestly, that's what I found out the worst. I would try and put some things off here, and I'm like, okay, I had a long day. I'll try and do it tomorrow. And then, it would start to add up. No. So now it's all just, you just get it done. I guess that's more for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do it for my sake more than anything else. I just got to get it done today, so I don't have to do it tomorrow.
I budget extra time in the morning because quite frankly, when I'm done work, like when I'm done for the day, like the last sport's done, I'll get my quick notes done. And then I make a point the next morning, just get to work a little bit early and just get them done. Just because, like, once I'm home, I know I'm not gonna do them. But like, if I do them in the morning where I'm the most productive, like we're on point. But be on top of your documentation so it doesn't overwhelm you and drive you crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I've gotten into the habit too of just, I mean, obviously I kind of have the luxury being at a little bit of a smaller high school. So sport team numbers are lower. Everything's kind of not as fast paced. So I'll take, whatever notes I have to do. If I know I have them, I'll, at a lower point in some of the practices, they're just running through, skill drills, that kind of things. I'll pull my phone out, throw in some of the quick notes.
Yep.
Close it out, save them all, obviously, because I don't save them and I have to redo them. Then obviously we all know that headache and everything.
And I think that's where EMR is taking a lot of the headache out of everything too, is that like we could pull our phones out now and document straight to the note versus like, I'm going to do a quick note here and then write it down when I'm at my desk.
If you guys don't mind me asking, what system do you guys use to do that?
Go ahead, Rob.
So we use Players Health. I'm assuming it's a relatively newer system. I know I talked to the guys that run it last year actually at NATA. They had a booth set up at the expo. So essentially it's trying to put everything in one section or everything in one area for athletic trainers, the coaches, parents, that kind of athletes, if they're in the college setting there. So you can put in your initial eval, you can attach notes to it. You can write in comments, and the comments are what the coaches
and parents
can see. But the full note and so the full initial evaluation and any notes popped in after that, they can't see, but that's why they throw the comments in there so they can stay on par.
So it's nice. I mean, there's definitely, because this is the first year they've implemented it for our company. And there's definitely some hiccups involved with it. Like, but
apparently more than some.
Oh,
well, hey, Rob is a little less tech savvy than me. So like, I've been okay with it, right? For the most part. Rob's, he's learning.
I mean, it also doesn't help when their app, they're like, yeah, it'll be ready for you to go when fall preseason rolls out, and we couldn't use it until like midwinter.
Yeah, it's fine though. Like, I mean, it's a good EMR system. I like it. It's probably it's better than a couple of the other ones out there. You know which ones I'm talking about. We're not gonna downplay. I'm not gonna call any names out on this because like I'm not worried, but you know which ones they are.
We're not calling anybody out, but we're looking at you. Okay.
I had a name or two pop up in my head immediately.
Yeah. You know which ones we're talking about. But you know, I definitely the number one key to keeping your sanity as an AT is to maintain personal relationships. A, B, find a hobby that's not AT. Find a hobby that's not AT, whether it be video games, whether it be MMA, whether it be mountain biking, roller skating, bowling,
Reading, anything.
right? Like something to keep your mind straight.
Oh, dog.
Hi, puppy. Hi.
Hey,
All right. Hello. I think I disturbed him. There was a disturbance in the force. I guess we're just bringing the dogs in here now.
I know. I heard a collar moving around over there already. They all
Come here,
know.
girl.
They all know.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, she's cute. Get out of here.
I have no idea where my guy is, but he's being very quiet, so I'm kind of
Probably sleeping.
concerned about this.
What happened?
So I have no idea where mine is, but he's being very quiet. So he's either sleeping or he's up to something.
He pooped in the floor.
Might be
He
right.
better not have.
All right. Any final words, guys?
Like you said, find a hobby. Find a hobby. Find a hobby. Find a hobby. Separate that time and communicate. Find that time one way or the other, even if it's just an hour. Whether you got kids or not, whether it's waking up an extra hour in the morning or staying up an extra late at night. I mean, find that time for yourself. You have to.
And Rob?
Yeah, find something to do. If you're going to take up mountain biking, watch out for them cougars. Make sure that you can go back and still be with your athletes. But yeah, find a hobby, you know, or not even just a hobby, but just, you know, make time for yourself. Make time for yourself. Take care of yourself, because you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of yourself and then go take care of your athletes if you're not doing the first part. It's just not going to work out.
Ditto. And that wraps it up for the day. Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you, Rob. If you guys really like the podcast, please like and subscribe the video. We will be putting out a video every week still. We haven't thought of a topic for next week because, quite frankly, we're lazy and we don't really think of topics until after we record this one. But we'll be sure to, we'll make sure to definitely have Anthony will be back at some point. And we'll hit on some fun topics, hit on some non-fun topics, hit on some, you know, more sports medicine oriented stuff. If you guys have any topics you want us to talk about, comment down below. That's why that's there, for ideas. Yay. Don't have to do our jobs. But thank you all so very much. With that, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And that's Anthony. And this is Sports Med with the Robs. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.